Well, it's time now for a check of the top business news stories. Our business editor, Kate Moody's here. Hi there, Kate.
Hi, Tom.
Now, Amazon is facing a major lawsuit in the United States. Tell us more.
Well, this has been filed by the Attorney General of the District of Columbia, the U.S. Capitol. It is an antitrust lawsuit similar to a number of complaints against Amazon in the EU, but this is the first of its kind in the United States. The tech giant is accused of violating competition laws by requiring merchants to pay up to 40% of a product price in order to use the platform, and forcing sellers not to charge less anywhere else. The district prosecutor says Amazon controls between 50 and 70% of online market sales in D.C. It's seen as a test case for other states which might pursue similar lawsuits, as they have recently against Facebook and Google. Amazon faces a similar antitrust investigation in the EU, as well as a recent legal victory here relating to its tax arrangements in Luxembourg. Meanwhile, reports suggest that Amazon could be finalizing its plans to buy MGM Studios in a deal worth up to $9 billion. The internet giant has been trying to increase the entertainment offerings on its Amazon Prime Video platform in an increasingly competitive streaming industry. The acquisition would give it access to MGM franchises, including James Bond, Rocky, and the Real Housewives series. It would mark Amazon's biggest acquisition since it bought Whole Foods in 2017 for just under $14 billion. Let's check in on the day's trading action now. Wall Street's struggling for direction with less than an hour of trade to go. Most stocks have wiped out their earlier gains, turning negative there. The S&P 500 and Dow Jones each down about 1/4 percentage point this hour. Shares of airlines and cruise companies have been bucking that losing trend, and cryptocurrencies are regaining some stability, with Bitcoin back up around $38,000. Having plunged to 32,000 last week. A mixed close for the major European indices earlier saw the Frankfurt DAX closing at a record high, the CAC 40 and FTSE 100 each losing about 1/3 of 1 percentage point. Moving on to some of the day's other business headlines now. 100 flights per day will be affected by the orders for European and British airlines to avoid flying over Belarus. That's according to air traffic control agency Eurocontrol, which says it's helping carriers to organize alternative routes. Belarus is not a major air hub, but some 400 civilian flights pass through its skies each day, mostly routes between Western Europe and destinations in Russia and Asia. British regulators are looking into a planned merger in the biotech industry. COVID vaccine maker AstraZeneca is seeking to buy U.S. firm Alexion for nearly $40 billion. U.S. competition authorities have already approved the deal, while the EU is conducting its own investigation. And business confidence in Germany rose to its highest level in 2 years in May, as the EU's largest economy seeks to recover from the pandemic. But separate data showed GDP contracted by 1.8% from the previous quarter and by 3.1% on the year. That's significantly weaker readings than the Eurozone average. Unrest and changes to security laws in Hong Kong have led 42% of foreign firms to consider leaving. That's according to a recent survey by the American Chamber of Commerce, which says Beijing's tightening hold is causing concern in the business community. Hong Kong has long been a hub for international businesses, chosen by many as their Asian base because of its ties to mainland China. Premier Carrie Lam, meanwhile, argued that Hong Kong remains an attractive place to do business. Take a listen.
We have 9,000 mainland and overseas companies based in Hong Kong. We have not seen any significant outflow of capital. The securities markets are doing very well. The banking sector is very stable. And generally, life goes on.
French retailers that were deemed non-essential have been reopened for nearly a week since the government began easing its latest restrictions. A third 6-week lockdown in April took many of them by surprise and left them with huge amounts of unsold stock. The government is now offering financial compensation, but with a cap of €8,000, most shop owners say they're still firmly in the red. Ellen Gainsford reports.
It's a drop in the ocean. That's a complaint of many French shop owners. They're set to receive compensation for leftover stock, but many say it's not enough to cover losses from the last lockdown.
8 000 euros, ça sera... Oui, on les prend, on est content, mais non, ce n'est pas assez parce que ça ne couvrira pas la perte. Là, sur un mois et demi, en termes de trésor, dès que j'ai fermé, j'ai perdu 25 000 euros.
Over the last year, uncertainty left many unable to plan financially.
On a toujours été surpris par les confinements. Alors donc c'est vrai que l'année dernière, on a essayé par rapport au premier confinement de se dire bon, est-ce qu'on doit commander plus? Est-ce que là il va y avoir une reprise? Est-ce qu'on commande moins? Et dans ces cas-là, on prend un risque de ne pas répondre à la demande de nos clients. Donc on a commandé de la même façon.
Among those eligible for the funding are sportswear, clothing, and shoe shops with fewer than 50 members of staff. Businesses whose seasonal winter stock will be hard to shift in the summer. But the compensation only goes up to a maximum of €8,000.
Voici une réserve. Je vous laisse constater.
This leather specialist has more than €300,000 worth of stock left over, so the state aid will cover less than 3% of his losses. French authorities have allocated around €200 million for the compensation fund.
Just begging for a shopping spree there, Tom.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much indeed. Our business editor, Kate Moody, thank you so much. That's it from us. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Do stay with us.